Your English humour will not help, Mr. Hannay. These men will stick at nothing. I am the only one who can stop them. If they are not stopped, it is only a matter of days, perhaps hours, before the top secret, highly confidential information is out of the country. And when it gets out of the country, God help us all. Ha! The police. They would not believe me any more than you did. With their boots and their whistles. It is up to us, Mr. Hannay. I tell you, these men act quickly. You do not know how clever their chief is. I know him very well. He has 12 names. He can make himself look like 100 different people. But there is one thing he cannot disguise. This part of his little finger is missing. So if ever you should meet a man with no top joint there, be very careful, my friend.
Been in these parts long?
No, I'm from Glasgow.
Glasgow?
Aye. Did you ever see it?
No, I never did.
Oh, you should. You should see Suckyhall Street on a Saturday night, with all its fine shops and the trams and the lights, and the cinema palaces and the crowds. It's a Saturday night tonight.
Well, I've never been to Glasgow, but I've been to Edinburgh and Montreal and London.
London?
I could tell you all about London at supper.
Aye, you could.
Certainly could.
No. John would nae approve of that, I doubt.
John?
My husband. He says, it's best not to think of such places and their wickedness.
Or I could tell you now.
No.
If you wanted.
Aye, you could.
Morning, Mr. Hannay. How you doing? What a lovely morning this morning it is this morning. What about this here heat wave? Never seen nothing like it. People out here dropping like flies.
Hello, Hyacinth. You're on the mark nice and early. Typecasting. He often thinks of you, Hyacinth. Mrs. Avery? You mean the vicar's mother? Mr. Avery? No, it was just a wild guess. Mike, don't go. She's dead. She was murdered just outside here last night. I only realised when he spoke on the phone just now. The sergeant must have told him. It was on the radio. I think they even mentioned her name. Only I wasn't listening properly. Mike, could you phone Brighton Station and ask them to get Sam to phone me immediately when his train gets in? But there's something you don't know, Mike. Sam did bring a child's doll back from Holland. Exactly like the one he described just now. I was trying to help him unpack, and I must have knocked it off the bed, because it played a few notes. So I picked it up, and it said, "Ah, surprise," or something like that. I thought it was a present for me. But Sam said no. It's for a little girl who was in hospital. Some woman he'd met at the airport in Amsterdam had asked him to bring it here for her. Someone he said he'd never met before. No. This woman, it must have been Mrs. Rote. She came here late that night to pick it up, but Sam couldn't find it. It must still be here somewhere. And that Italian woman who didn't turn up last night, that was Mrs. Rote too, because